New York Times opinion pieces, my favorite. So let's jump into it. So this writer for the New York Times is gay, and she doesn't understand why there's so many conservative LGBT people, and why there's so many gay trans people now that are associating as conservative. Even though that's always kind of been a thing, and every gay person I actually know, this is anecdotal, but in my real life, I actually know a lot of gay conservatives. Turns out gay people aren't defined by who they have sex with. Who knew? Turns out sucking a dick is not the only thing that makes you who you are. You actually care about other issues. There's policy voting. Who knew? I thought black people and gay people just voted because of their skin color and their sexuality. That's what's so great is the Democrats don't know what to do, because the left has been for years lying to these minority communities to get them to vote for them when they don't actually help them. The Democratic Party's done nothing for the black community. It's just held them back. But it's so funny because now it's backfiring on them. They're losing that base because clearly the progressive politics, it isn't really working for anyone. And they don't know what to do. They're like, oh my God, we're going to lose the gay people. What the fuck do we do? If we lose the gay people, we're never going to win an election. Because legitimately, if you look at it, if Democrats didn't have the black vote or the Hispanic vote, they really couldn't win any presidential elections. They would lose all the time. It would be like Ronald Reagan, George H. Bush. I mean, that would have kept happening. And even now, after Obama left, I don't know if they're going to get the votes again. I don't think they'll be able to run a white person and win. They're probably going to have to run Michelle Obama or something. I mean, I'm serious. It's ridiculous, but the left has no policy to fall back on anymore. The policy of the Democratic Party is dead. Let's go into the article, though. Donald Trump's inauguration was devoid of stars. Elton John said no. Justin Timberlake cried the president a river. The event was barren of A-listers except for one. There she was, Caitlyn Jenner, in an off-the-shoulder navy gown, cheering on the new president. Republicans need help understanding LGBTQ issues, she tweeted, and I'm here to help. There are times when I feel like my friendship with Caitlyn is one unending Thanksgiving dinner, with me always fleeing the table in tears. But I do believe that we're all going to survive. That if we're all going to survive the next 4 years, we have to learn to not only how to talk with one another, but to listen. Well, good luck with that, because the left's not listening. I mean, Sarah Silverman just took a picture and was like, hey, look, a swastika. Oh, Nazis can't use Google. Then it was pointed out to her that it was just a normal symbol they do at construction sites. And then she's like, oh, I made a mistake. My bad. I'm just a Jew. It's like, yeah, okay. The left isn't listening. Listening is no easy thing. It's actually pretty easy when you're not a leftist. Like, I listen to what you guys say, and then we come back and we give our point of view and shut down your stupid arguments. But yeah, you guys just don't want to hear anything we have to say, because once you hear a fact that contradicts the narrative, you're like, oh God, no. When I spent 6 weeks on a bus last year with Caitlyn as part of her reality show's road trip, I asked her how she could possibly be a Republican. She replied, every conservative guy out there believes in everybody's rights. I shouted back, that's a lie. And then I hit her with a rolled up newspaper demonstrating how bad I am at the whole listening thing. Yes, because you're liberal. You guys are all like this. You act like a child. That's a lie. Conservative people can't care about rights. I'm going to hit you with the newspaper. There is, and ought to be, room for a wide range of identities within the LGBT movement. But how can queer people side with the party that has devoted much of their last quarter century to demonizing us and opposing our rights? Really? Demonizing you? As a friend once observed, queer Republicans remind him of the pig in the chef's hat and apron holding a fork and knife on the front sign for a barbecue joint. Surely that pig must know that things aren't going to end well. It's a weird equivalency. So you're saying gay people are going to get like fried at the barbecue place by the Republican Party because they agree with conservative policies? I'd even argue Trump's probably the most pro-gay, pro-trans president we've probably ever had. I think he gives the least amount of shits ever if someone's gay or not. Probably than any president we've ever had before. Like, legitimately, I feel that way about Donald Trump, that he doesn't give a fuck. But Caitlyn isn't alone. According to Gallup, 21% of LGBT Americans are or lean Republican. Oh my God, yeah, wow, crazy. Turns out gay people have their own choices they can make. They don't all just think as a group. That's crazy. If only black people would start doing that more, maybe you could actually, like, make some real change. But stay in the group politics, because you're all one group of people. You're not a group of individuals. What's more fair? The system that says, I don't give a fuck about you on an emotional level. I just expect you to provide some kind of benefit to me. What can you do to help me? What the fuck can you do to help me, gay or black? How can you make money for me, the economy? How can you help the country? What can you do? Beyond the fact of just saying, I'm gay, I'm black. Like, what's the next thing, right? That's the difference. is that, like, when Ben Carson's there and everyone hates him because he says a bunch of crazy shit, they also ignore the fact that the guy's a goddamn neurosurgeon. The guy is not dumb. He's a neurosurgeon. He's in the Republican Party. He's a black man. They're like, oh, well, fuck it. He's an Uncle Tom, whatever, you know? But yet Barack Obama being from Harvard and all that and being a lawyer, they act like he's one of the highest intellectuals in the world we have. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. What's the standard then? You know, is there a standard? I don't get what the standard is anymore. Like, if Ben Carson had been a liberal, would they have praised him? I'm going to say yes, but I don't think the left will ever lament that hypocrisy with Ben Carson or Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio. Those people that weren't white, really, that were in the Republican primaries. You know, because the Democrats had those two old white people, and they were up there telling you about progress and all that stuff and diversity. And then you go to the Republican, and they're like, the GOP is racist. And then you go over and you watch the Republican debates, and you're like, huh, I see a woman and a black guy and a Hispanic guy. I didn't see that over there. Huh. So when you're saying these people are racist, it's hard for me to believe you because they really don't seem to care that Ben Carson's black. Huh. Do you see the problem with identity politics? It doesn't really work because it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. The Trump administration claims it supports gay and trans rights, as evidenced by its decision last month to preserve Barack Obama's workplace protections. The president is proud to have been the first ever GOP nominee to mention the LGBTQ community in his nomination acceptance speech, a White House statement said. On the other hand, this consistently inconsistent president has also said, you mean like every president we've ever had being consistently inconsistent? Has also said that he would strongly consider appointing a Supreme Court justice who would rescind the nation's marriage equality laws. Well, it's basically because the Supreme Court went against half the country in that and abused its power when it made gay marriage legal. I don't actually think the government should have any say in marriage, and that goes for straight marriage at all. I think the government should be out of marriage and religion, but you guys who hate the Trump's big government, you didn't seem to hate the big government back then when the Supreme Court did that. I mean, I don't care if gay people get married and all that, but it's really not that. I'm sorry. I just never understood the discrimination thing. Like, oh wow, you want to get married? Wow, I'm sorry you can't get married. Like, I sympathize, but it's still, to me, it's like, really, we're fighting for marriage? I mean, I just like to end marriage in general. I think it's just this outdated thing we need to kind of move on from. But maybe that's just me. You know, if you're gay and religious and you want to have a Christian wedding, whatever. Anyway, who would rescind the nation's marriage equality rights. And he may get his wish with Judge Neil Gorsuch, who sided with Hobby Lobby in a case that began with a fight over contraception covered but ended at the Supreme Court with a ruling that could ultimately allow any business to discriminate against gay and trans people on the basis of religion. A leaked draft of an executive order endorsed the same policy, and in 2009, Judge Gorsuch rejected a transgender woman's claim that she was forced out of her job in violation of federal law. So he rejected it, so he had to be a bigot. He didn't actually look at the case. This highly respected judge, one of the most respected judges in the country, is clearly asked to be a bigot, because if he's not one, we don't have an argument here. I think a small business should be able to discriminate against gay and trans people. I mean, here's the argument why. Because the left isn't consistent either. When you guys did the gay marriage thing, right? That woman's flower shop got shut down. That bakery got shut down. People who didn't want to make a cake for a gay wedding, or wanted to give flowers for a gay wedding, and they even provided places for them to go get it done. And they said, hey, I just can't do that. I don't believe in that. So they sued those places and got them shut down because they're not good people. Those gay people weren't good people. And this happened a lot during that time after gay marriage, that these Christian businesses were getting attacked because they didn't get their right to being a private business. I think if you're religious and you own a business and you don't want to serve people because of that, I think you have every fucking right in the world. I do. I think it's just like if you come into my business and I don't want to serve you because I think you're a fucking asshole and I can kick you out, I think you have every right to. I don't agree with this idea that you should just accept people. If you own that business and you're paying for it, you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want. It makes no sense. I mean, they're okay with that when Twitter bans Milo for no reason, but then you don't want a small business to be able to have. I mean, you guys ban people based off ideology. That's the same thing as religion. I'd like to meet these New York Times experts that know everything. LGBT conservatives argue that they are not one-issue voters. That while the rights of queer Americans are important, they are not the only factor. Wow, that's amazing. You mean they actually vote for everyone in the whole country and not just the fact that they're gay? They just don't vote on one policy? Isn't that crazy? There are a lot of issues that constitute political identity, and as it turns out, some voters feel that their own rights are not the most urgent. I admit that I really don't get it, so in spirit of listening, I called Caitlyn again. You don't get that people want to vote for things that affect everyone in the whole country and the world, and not just you directly. You don't get that. You don't get the humility and the lack of narcissism in that. Okay, I love progressives. She was driving her car, a 1960 Austin Healey bug-eyed Sprite, to the shop. If we don't have a country, she told me, we don't have LGBT issues. I wasn't quite sure what she meant, so she went on. It's important that we have a thriving country. I want every trans person to get a job. I want a thriving economy. I don't want massive government on top of everything we do. So, yeah, basically what Caitlyn's saying is that I want the country to thrive so we can bitch about gay rights. Because this is really only one of the countries where you can go around bitching about gay rights that you really already have. Where all over the world, gay people get thrown off buildings and treated like shit. You're like, oh no, I want rights in this country that I really already have. Oh no. And you don't quite get it. You don't get that there's a lot more to the country than just what we do or not do about gay people or black people. I know that's all you progressives care about. I know that's all the radicals care about is that stuff. But turns out other people who read and stuff think there's more to it. Why did she go to the inauguration? I was working, she said. I had an objective when I was there to meet as many people. So Caitlyn said they went to the inauguration to meet a bunch of people and spread the word about LGBT issues. Even though Caitlyn Jenner wasn't for LGBT issues in the 70s, 80s, 90s. But then one day he just randomly decided he was a woman now and then became a hero for the trans community. I thought that was a little weird. I was like, wait, this person that never did anything for you guys is a hero now? Yet you're yelling at conservatives who never did anything for you, but Caitlyn's a hero. It's weird who they pick as a hero or not. You know, they applaud Roman Polanski for winning Best Director, even though he ass-raped a 13-year-old girl after he drugged her. Yet they'll all go up and talk shit about Trump and applaud Meryl Streep for talking about him making fun of a disabled reporter, even though he really didn't. But they don't care about facts because they like Roman Polanski because he's a filmmaker, I guess. They don't care that he raped a girl. Isn't it confusing? I mean, it's really what confuses me about the left, the moral inconsistency. It's like, what do you believe in fundamentally as a person? I really don't know. At least an asshole conservative who doesn't like gay people usually stays consistent with it. Mike Pence, she said, is a different story, given that he opposed the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell and said that gay couples would cause a societal collapse. That seemed to me like an understatement. Actually, that's probably the most nuanced and best way to describe Mike Pence without being radical one way or the other. Pence was happy to see me, she said. In so many ways, we have a lot of things in common. I'm a Christian, I'm also Republican, I'm also trans. My faith played a very big role in what I'm doing, and I would love to explain my story to him. As I listened, I wondered whether LGBT rights really ought not to be most conservative of causes. Above all else, we want to be left alone, without interference, to live our lives with truth and grace. What would be more conservative than that? Well, that's how Milo feels, and a lot of other gay people that are like even Dave Rubin. Like, gay people kind of lost the thing that made their culture and everything cool when they just tried to associate with straight people. And it's like, no, you used to be counterculture, and today being conservative is counterculture. It goes against the mainstream now to be a conservative, which is kind of crazy that happened. And yet the modern Republican Party seems to have no problem interfering with people's privacy when it comes to sexuality and gender identity. From abortion rights to opposition to marriage equality, the Republicans have advocated more government intrusion into private lives, not less. Actually, your abortion rights can suck my ass. Fuck Planned Parenthood. Fuck its government funding. Fuck those fake numbers where they claim that they don't perform a lot of abortions, because they do. 93% of women who end up going to Planned Parenthood end up getting an abortion at Planned Parenthood. I don't want to pay for your abortions, and you say none of that money directly goes. Yes, it does, because Planned Parenthood gets government funding, and that includes the abortions performed. But the narrative, they keep trying to lie to you on sites like Snopes and PolitiFact and say it's not true. The Republicans want less of these identity-based issues. It's like, why do we have all these programs set up for gay people? Why is you sucking a dick relevant to a program? Why should you get some kind of special treatment because you like to suck a dick? Get what I'm saying? I mean, I don't disagree, but it's funny that you guys all hate big government now when we bitched about big government for 8 years with Obama, and they're like, well, now the Republicans are doing this stuff. It's like, the Obama administration was all big government, you motherfuckers. God damn it. So was the Bush administration, so was the Clinton administration. I mean, I'm not acting like this wasn't a Republican. I don't like it at all, but the Democrats weren't bitching during the Obama years. Where was the articles from the New York Times at that point? I mean, this pisses me off. They're acting now like J-Lo comes out last night in the at the Grammys and goes, "This is the time when artists go to work," and we say stuff because Jennifer Lopez is one of the greatest political artists we've ever had in the last 20 years, I guess. But I go, what are you guys talking about? You aren't artists. It was brave to criticize Obama over 8 years, and none of you did it. Now you're all doing the most obvious thing. You're pandering to the masses of the people that already agree with you. That's not brave. Caitlyn is aware of this, and she warns that if there's no progress on those issues, conservatives should be prepared for the wrath of Caitlyn Jenner coming down upon you. Would that include voting for a Democrat? I could never see myself voting for a Democrat, especially right now. I think we've lost the Democratic Party. I think it has been hijacked by left-wing radical agendas. Thank you, Caitlyn Jenner. I think I actually do like you. You being friends with Kanye, being in the famous video, now this. I'm like, you know what? Caitlyn Jenner's pretty awesome. You know? I mean, I still wouldn't fuck him or her, but I still like, hey, you know what, dude? You're all right. You're all right. And also, nice tits. I've seen him. Nice tits. Including LGBT rights, I asked? Boy, said Caitlyn, you keep going back to LGBT rights. Yeah, I told her. I do. See, she said that like that's powerful, like that matters the most. Here's my problem with this article. The writer writes this opinion piece like, I don't understand, and then they try to get you to read the Caitlyn things, and it's like, yeah, I told her I do. Like, your whole emphasis here, you really didn't listen to anything Caitlyn said. You just focused on, this whole article is about the LGBT rights. Like, that's all you care about. That's all you care about is that you're gay and you want special treatment because you're a little snowflake. Caitlyn Jenner's had success. He won gold medals. His whole life he's had success. He made money. He knows that it doesn't matter happiness or your success isn't factored in by being a man or a woman. It's about what you choose to do with your life and how you choose to live it. And that's real American diversity, and that's the true American dream. The American dream isn't a promise that you're going to get it. It's the idea that you can have it. And I've always get an argument with every liberal I talk. They tell me it sounds like some bullshit, great book literature shit, like I'm promising America. It's like, no, there's too much proof of it happening. It only works in a system where a lot of people fail because the ones who succeed figure out through a free market how to do better than everyone else in competition, fair competition. And the left hates fairness because they can't win when things are fair. When things are fair, they don't know what to do because they don't have a policy that's worth a goddamn thing. So they have to rely on identity politics because if they don't get the black vote, they don't get the Hispanic vote, they don't get the gay vote, they really don't have anything. If they don't associate with feminism, if they don't associate with Black Lives Matter, they have nothing. They have nothing to get people to go over to their side because what is the Democratic Party today? Tell me, what is the policy and basis of the Democratic Party? If you tell me it's the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warrens of today, that ain't going to win either. That ain't the future of politics either. So you guys need to reevaluate and find the middle ground. The moderate liberal needs to return to the politosphere. I'm truly hopeful that outreach by Caitlyn and others will succeed and that life will get better for all of us. If it doesn't, well, you know, enjoy the barbecue. Oh, how clever. So here's an article. Let me show some reactions to this because this video went on a lot longer than I thought it would. New York Times opinion. 21% of LGBT people are or lean Republican. What are they thinking? Somehow we think that percentage is even higher, but the New York Times is so freaked out over 1 in 5 LGBT people being Republican, they wrote an opinion piece on it, almost like they think they should be ashamed of not being Democrats. That's the thing, they wrote a whole opinion piece from this poll that there's just 1 in 5 gay people are conservative. It's like they have a right to support a different party or something. At New York Times opinion, they're thinking independently and free from the constraints of the identity politics in which you want them to conform. Screeching minority. That they can't be pandered to by fucking frauds on the left, like the pander granny. At New York Times opinion, they were thinking for themselves. High altitudes. I mean, there's still hope for them. Amen. So they're not so much into identity politics, but rather what's good for the whole nation. Outrage. I imagine they're thinking they prefer freedom of thought and opinion over the Democrat hive mind, maybe. Where are some groups asked to be one issue? Why are some groups asked to be one issue voters? Yeah, that is a great point here. Why is if you're gay, all your voting issues have to be based off being gay, or if you're black? It's really confusing, isn't it? Like, can't you just vote for the things that you believe in? This is the Patriarchy. Like, comment, and subscribe. What was your opinion? Leave your opinion in the comments. I care.